I was on the phone on a coaching call with a Tony Robbins coach, and he paused and asked me this question. He said, "What's the real cost if you don't change?" And friend, I wasn't ready for what came next. In today's episode, I'm taking you behind the scenes of a coaching call that I had with Tony Robbins' team. I'll share what it was like to be coached by one of the most well-known coaching organizations in the world and why the exact same principles they use to create breakthrough are the ones I use every day with my clients. We're talking about what really keeps people stuck, why most people wait for pain before they take action, and the surprising truth about why even coaches hire coaches. Whether you're thinking about getting support, hiring a coach, or just want to grow and move forward, this episode will give you clarity, encouragement, and some major insight into what creates real, lasting transformation. Let's get into it. Are you motivated, purpose-driven, and want to live intentionally, but struggle to stay consistent with your goals? Do you feel like you were made for more, but often get stuck overthinking and second-guessing? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Personal Growth for Christians. I'm Renee Boo, and I was there too. That is why I spent years studying the psychology of behavior change and became a certified brain-based life coach. In this podcast, we'll use strategies based in neuroscience and God's Word to empower you to break free from frustrations, manage your mind, and create a life of purpose and intention. It's time to get unstuck, thrive in every area of your life, and step into the abundant life you were made for. Hey, I'm really glad you're here today. I am like a kid in a candy store, and I want to share all the candy I have with you. I got to sit on a coaching call today with a certified Tony Robbins coach, and I want to spill the tea on the behind the scenes of that, share my experience getting coached, and just give you some like top-notch personal development insights from what I got from this call today. So are you ready for it? If you're here and you saw the, title, you're like, oh, who is this? Maybe you know who Tony Robbins is, and you're like, okay, tell me more. I want to know. This is so cool. But if you're like, sis, I don't know who Tony Robbins is. Well, let me tell you. So Tony Robbins, he's one of the most well-known personal development coaches in the world. He's worked with presidents, celebrities, CEOs, you name it. I think to get him coaching you one-on-one, I'm pretty sure it's $1 million. like he is well-known, knows his stuff, and has gotten people results. His events draw thousands of people, and his coaching team is trained in his behavior change methods. So I am a fan already with that phrase because I am certified in the psychology of behavior change. And so that already gets me kind of like, okay, tell me more. Now, while I'm not a super fan of Tony Robbins, I have watched some of his trainings, listened to podcasts, and I respect his change methods and his approach to growth. And I can respect that while not always agreeing with everything he teaches and all of his methodology. So I just want to give that to you at the gate, like you get to use your beautiful brain and your mind of Christ and use discernment when you go to learn from anybody. So just want to give you that out there. Here that I'm a Christian. Biblical principles are important to me. I don't know about Tony Robbins and what he believes. I do know there's some things he puts out there and I'm like, yes. And some things I'm like, no, that's okay. You can take in the meat and throw out the bones, right? You have discernment and God's giving you a smart brain so you can use it. So I just want to give that caveat. Okay, cool. So let's talk about coaching. Why did I decide to go and get coached by another coach? I'm going to tell you that. But first of all, I want to let you know that I'm currently booked with one-on-one clients. However, an opportunity is coming for you. It's coming because in August, I will open the doors finally for my Abundant Life Collective, which is my signature coaching program. I'm opening the doors in August. We will start in September. This is for anyone who wants to get unstuck in any area of their life, who wants to take bold action with clarity and confidence so that you can thrive in every area of life, using all of the things I teach here: neuroscience principles, faith-fueled principles, biblical encouragement, behavior change psychology, habit stacking, everything I got in my tool belt. It will be given to you in this Abundant Life Collective. Now, I am keeping this very limited number of spots because I am a high touch experienced coach with high touch experiencing in the coaching program. So it's not a massive group of people. It'll be very limited. So you want to go and get on the wait list so you can be the first to know when the spot's open so you can snag yours before I open it to the public. If you want to do that today, like just pause me right now and go to reneeboo.com/collective to get on that wait list. That's RENEEBOOE.com/collective. COLLECTIVE. Link will be in the show notes. You want to get on that list. You're not going to want to miss this round of the Abundant Life Collective. Okay, so why work with a coach? Why did I reach out to get coached by a Tony Robbins coach? Look, humans have blind spots. We all do, even coaches. Even coaches can get stuck, can get to a certain point and they've reached their ceiling and they need someone to help them get through. And also, even if I know the steps and the strategies, accountability and having someone challenge you when you're saying things that are limiting you, or have someone encourage you goes a long way. Goes a long way. I know that I will get where I want to go 10 times faster if I have a coach. Good coaches have coaches. Actually, the Tony Robbins coach I worked with today, his name is Scott. I feel like that's just easier to say that. Scott, he was like, because I told him up front, I am a coach. Is it okay if I work with your program as a coach? And he's like, yes, all good coaches should have coaches. He's like, Tony Robbins hires coaches. So this is how people grow, is we hire coaches that have done what we want to do and know the strategies that we need to collapse time for us, to get to a place faster. Coaches need coaches because growth never stops. It never stops. And here's the thing. So I think for me, hiring coaches is twofold. One, I'm getting coached. I'm getting held accountable to my goals in my business, in my health, in my relationships, in my finances, in every area of my life. I'm getting held accountable. I'm getting the strategies. I'm getting the support. Also, every time I hire a coach, I am learning through the observer lens. I'm watching how these coaches coach and teach, and I'm learning tools that way that I can also give away to my clients. Isn't that really cool? So every time I pay for a coach or hire someone to help me, I'm benefiting myself in my own personal journey, but also benefiting my clients and serving them better because I'm growing as a coach. That is one of the reasons why I love to hire coaches, and I will always have a coach. Always, always. I actually, oh my gosh, I have 3 coaches right now. Is that right? I do. I have 3 coaches for different areas of my life, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Okay, so let's dive into the behind the scenes of this coaching call. First thing, I think it's just good to know, what does it look like for a coaching call? What does it look like when you start? And I'll say this wasn't a full coaching call. I didn't get a lot of coaching. I got a lot of framework and methodology because this was a discovery call. This was the first call that I had with their team to decide if I was a good fit for them and if they're a good fit for me. So it was more learning and education and not as much coaching. He did coach me a little. I think that's just what coaches naturally do, but this was more of a discovery call. So when I get on the phone with him, he starts off with, what do you want? And I love that question. It's like, what do you want? And when he asks this question like this, catch this, he goes, what 3 goals must you achieve? And I pull out my inquisitive hat because I'm just trying to get behind the scenes. Why are you doing what you're doing? And why did you ask that question that way? Why did you put the word must there? And he was like, urgency and non-negotiable. Your goals, in order to achieve them, in order to not go back and forth and start and stop and to get stuck like most people do, and I have in my own life too, it's okay. But he's like, in order to not do that, your goals have to be non-negotiable. Number 1 takeaway that I got from this coaching call that I can give to you is we don't see our goals as non-negotiable. We kind of see them as wants. That would be nice. That would be cool. That would be fun. But we don't see them as non-negotiable. And he was like, things shift in your psychology, in your brain, when you see the goal as a non-negotiable, I must achieve it. And I have to admit that energy, when we started talking about that, definitely shifted things for me. And there are some areas of my life where I'm like, oh, that'd be fun if I do that, but they're not a must. And so that challenged me today. I'm like, oh, okay. So are there some areas that if they're not a must, are these really goals I care about and I need to like shift to a must, or are they things I don't really care about and I let them go? It was very interesting to me. So I wanted to give that to you. Are there some things you've been working on that you feel like you should, but they don't feel like a must? And that could be one reason why you're not making lasting change and making progress, because they're not musts for you. The second thing that I really noticed that they coached and I thought was super helpful was he started with, okay, so these are the 3 goals you must achieve. He's like, why? Why? He's like, your why has to be strong. It has to be non-negotiable. It has to be so powerful and so inspiring, and you have to remind yourself of it all the time. And he was like, don't give me the negative of just the positive. And I was like, okay, this is a really great place to start. And if I do discovering calls with my clients, I always start with, what do you want? What do you want? I haven't done the why, but I can see like why drives us, right? Is it Simon Sinek who says the why drives us? I don't know. I'm not going to go look that up, but the why is going to drive you long term. So when you're thinking about a goal you want to reach, a thing you want to accomplish, breakthrough you want to have, do you know your why? Do you know your why? If you don't, take some time right now, today, pause me, pick one goal or one thing you're working towards and decide, is it a must? And then why is it a must? What is it? What is it? The third thing, and I've heard this before, but I wanted to note it for you guys, is he was talking about coaching and why people get coaching. And he was like, change is, catch hold of this, 80% psychology and 20% strategy. Change is 80% psychology, meaning what's happening in your brain. What's happening in your brain and your thoughts, and only 20% what do I do? The steps I have to take. And you guys, I was in this coaching call and I felt like he was reading my website copy, or he's listened to 15 of my podcasts, or he was creeping my Instagram posts. He wasn't, but that's what I felt like, because he was using the language I use. He was saying that, there's a knowing doing gap. And I was like, yep, I know about the knowing doing gap. And then he was like, you can't outperform your beliefs. And I'm like, yes. And he's like, identity drives your behavior and your psychology and your beliefs. And he was literally, it was like he was reading my diary and like he was reading all of my notebooks and my own coaching program. He was literally laying out the methods of change that I teach my clients. And for me, that, I'm just going to be honest, it felt so good. It felt so good to know after, how many years? 5, 10 years of learning and getting certifications and researching and learning some more and doing the thing that the methodologies I use, the strategies I use, the things I coach on for change to get my clients from where they are to where they want to be is literally what the top coaches in the world are teaching. And I was like, yes, thank you, Jesus. Thank you for showing me how to help people change so I can give this away, right? Now, they didn't use the word neuroscience and they didn't talk about brain priming, but they did talk about identity. He did talk about identity, behavior change, thoughts, belief work, all of that. So that's definitely one part of my framework. And I was like, okay, this is so fun. And the reason why I love that was, one, I was like, yes, it was just confirmation to me today that I am serving my clients at the highest level, and also confirmation of this is the type of coach I want to work with. I only want to work with a coach who's coaching me if they understand all of this, if they understand what actually drives behavior, that it's not just habits lead to outcomes, but it's identity work, it's nervous system, it's your brain, it's your thoughts and beliefs, it's your psychology. Hearing that just gave me confirmation of like, oh, this is a coach I'd want to work with. And so I'll tell that to you. I might be your coach that you want to work with, but I might not. Regardless if it's me you want to work with, or Tony Robbins coach you want to work with, or you want to work with some Sarah over here in the internet on the other corner, great, work with a coach. But I highly recommend you work with a coach who understands the psychology of behavior change, the fundamental levels of how people actually grow, so that you can get real results. And then I would just say bonus of having someone who understands what God says about change and how the Holy Spirit leads and guides us, and how Romans 12:2, we can be transformed by renewing the way we think. That's my bias that I'm not shying away from. But I thought it was so cool and so exciting to hear that this is how the Tony Robbins team is helping people change, at least the top 3 steps. He was like, here are the 3 steps, the first 3 steps. Okay, so thanks for letting me go on a tangent. I just was super pumped to hear all that, and it got me fired up. Okay, another thing that he did in my coaching call that just kind of took my breath away and really stopped me in my tracks. He was like, what is the cost for your life if you don't reach these goals? If nothing changes? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to think about that. And he was so kind and coached me. He was like, yeah, this is uncomfortable. We don't like to think about the negative, because like, I want you to get brutally honest and go like worst case scenario. What could happen? What's the cost if you don't get, the health goals you want, if you're not making the impact in the world and your business that you want, if your marriage isn't where you want it to be, and your finances and your relationship with your kids and your faith, like what is the cost? And sitting there and naming those things made me uncomfortable, but it definitely created that urgency, definitely changed my emotions about it, and gave me some leverage. It gave me leverage and this desire to want to make these goals a must. And he said this thing, he goes, yeah, most people wait for pain to happen to us to give us leverage. He said, but the power comes, catch this if you're taking notes, this is it. But the power comes when we create our own leverage before the pain. Whew. He is so right. And he was giving me examples like a lot of people will wait until they're in lots of debt and really struggling financially, and then they'll set money goals, and then they'll learn to budget. They didn't do that in the front end. They waited for life to create the pain. Or with, purpose goals, a lot of people will wait until way later in their life, and then they don't feel satisfied and fulfilled because they didn't contribute to the world like they were supposed to and like God was leading them to. And so then they'll do it out of desperation at a later age, and they do it and they feel shame and lots of fear and lots of like self-doubt when they could do it way earlier and miss out, like, and avoid all that pain, give themselves the leverage. Or health, right? A lot of people, we wait until we are struggling with disease, or we have 50 pounds of extra weight, or we're just feeling lethargic, and the doctor gives us some kind of, information about our cholesterol, and then we move forward. He's like, we need to create our own leverage now before the pain. He's like, when you do that, goals are more fun. They're actually easier to achieve, and you are thriving earlier in life and not waiting for the pain. I was like, okay, Scott, now you're preaching. It was so good. I hope that sparks something in you. Hope it helps you see something. So I'm going to ask you that same question. What's the cost for you if nothing changes? Whatever it is you're working on in your life, health, finances, wealth, purpose, parenting, relationships, what is the cost if nothing changes? We don't want to be people who wait for life to create leverage. We want to create it ourselves. And we don't want to have to rely on willpower. We want identity to change us. Identity drives behavior. I have a whole episode on that. I think it's episode 15. Is that right? I'll put it in the show notes for you. Your identity, who you believe that you are at your core, drives your behavior. And that has to shift in order for you to get lasting change. Okay, I'm about to wrap up, but this coaching call was fire, and it was only 45 minutes, and it was so good. So I guess my takeaways were that it was so powerful to know what I want, to say why I wanted it, to recognize the cost of it not happening, and then to learn the methodologies of how lasting change comes, and realizing it is the basic foundations of what I teach was just everything. I felt so empowered and so ready to be coached more by their team, and also to go out and coach more, to go out and change lives, to go out and make an impact, to go out and help you fully experience all that God has for you in your life, for you to thrive and experience that abundant life. Look, when we work with someone who's trained in behavior change, in belief rewiring, in brain reprogramming, we collapse time. We go further, faster, and that's the power of working with a coach. That's the power, I believe, of working with a brain-based, biblically sound, spirit-led coach. So I just want to share the invitation with you one more time. Go get on the wait list for the Abundant Life Collective. Go get on the wait list so that you can be a part of this transformational journey to get from where you are now to where you want to go. It is possible for you. Change is possible for you, right? God takes us from glory to glory. He's not done with you. He's got good plans and purposes for you. And coaching is just a way to get there faster, to get there without struggling, stumbling over yourself, starting and stopping over and over again, second guessing, overthinking, learning more and not doing. We don't want that. We want to be people who take action. So if you're ready, go to reneeboo.com/collective and get on the wait list. Okay, I hope this episode blessed you and taught you something. I hope there were some takeaways that you can apply to your life today. And look, here's the thing. The world's top performers need coaches. The top athletes have coaches. Top executives have coaches. Top coaches have coaches. So maybe it's time that you give yourself the same gift, the same investment, because you're worth it and because it'll help you get further, faster, help you get to all the places God has called you to go. Are you ready? I know I'm ready. I'm so excited. Let's go. Thanks for listening. Hope this blessed you. See you back soon. Hey friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share this episode with your growth-minded friend who is also ready to reach her goals and live with intention? Also, if you haven't yet, please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It absolutely makes my day to know this show is inspiring you to take steps toward the life God has called you to live. All right, time for me to grab my journal, pour another cup of coffee, and dream big with God about what's next. I'll meet you back here in just a few days. Until then, keep taking steps of faith into the more you were made for.